Last year, India and the United States announced a deal for 31 Predator drones. Now, the deal was announced during Prime Minister Modi's US visit last year. The Indian Navy will get 15 drones, while the Air Force and Army will get 8 each. They're worth over $3 billion. It's one of the largest deals between India and the US. Now, there are reports suggesting that the deal was facing some delays, but the United States seems to suggest that all is well. Now, what are the MQ-9 Predators and why does India need them? Joining me to discuss this is Lieutenant General PR Shankar, Group Captain Narang, and my colleague Nivriti Mohan. General Shankar, why does India need the MQ-9 drones? It sounds expensive, $100 million a drone, a $3 billion deal.
No, you need such kind of drones basically to carry out surveillance across the high altitudes, as also across the expanse of the Indian Ocean region. And you also need this capability because MQ-9 gives you the capability to attack targets.
Right.
So it's surveillance come attack weapon system. And it can fly high and it can take on the weather conditions in high altitude. So overall, such drones or UAVs are worth the money you're going to pay for.
Overall, the drones and UAVs are worth the money you're paying for, which is a lot of money. And $3 billion is one of the largest defense deals that India has signed up for with the United States. Group Captain Narang, you've been tracking this deal very closely. There have been reports of MQ-9s being shot down in the last couple of months, first by the Houthi rebels, and then the Russian Air Force is down one of them, and there's reports of them being knocked down in other conflict zones as well. Tell us why the Indian Armed Forces should buy a drone that seems to be increasingly vulnerable, given the threats, air defense threats that they face in contested airspaces.
Yeah.
Okay, MQ-9 is a turboprop UAV. It's predominantly meant for ISR, but it is an armed UAV.
Yes.
You cannot expect it to undertake combat missions, but
yes.
it can provide certain capabilities in where there is less threat to the unmanned platform.
Right.
So it's an added capability. It is not a combat platform per se.
Right.
Secondly, why we need this kind of platform is this is currently India doesn't have a platform which can operate at about 40,000 plus feet of height.
Yes.
So that kind of capabilities and kind of sensors which is carried by the MQ-9 our current generation of or current inventory of Indian Defence Forces, we do not have those systems. Secondly, they provide you network data, transfer capabilities and network creation of the picture. So that kind of facilities are very, very much required for India. Thirdly, they have a very high endurance. Right. And high altitude lets you go across the Himalayas to see other side of the border. Right. Now that is very much essential for Indian Defence Forces.
Yes.
You can, and the sensors which they are possessed by these drones give you certainly ISR capability, which the Defence Forces will certainly be benefited.
Absolutely, they sound like Swiss Army knives. And Nivriti, you've been speaking to a lot of private sector drone developers. What is their take on this massive deal? Do they think that it's going to take money away from indigenous programs and indigenous procurements?
Yes, I did speak to the developers when we were doing a story on swarm drones, which we had shown on News9 Plus as well. So they were complaining about the thing that we are not getting as much of assistance from the government as much as they should be getting to develop the drone industry. For example, if we say DRDO is also developing drones, there are a number of drones that the DRDO is developing, but they haven't been able to give that sort of results which India wants right now.
Right.
But there is an example of IAF's swarm drone competition as well, in which they
which you've reported on.
In which they just invested 16 crore rupees in last 5 years, but they were able to develop an industry where they could award contracts worth 800 crores.
Right.
So, if India invests in its own indigenous swarm drone or drone developers, it can yield results. They can yield results and provide good quality drones to Indian Defence Forces.
Actually, very important point there, Nivriti, and I want to ask General Shankar this. So the point that Nivriti made, the Meher Baba contest, the Air Force started this, 16 crore invested over the last couple of years. You have created a drone ecosystem with orders, firm orders of 800 crore that are given out. Now, the private developers say, look, give us a little more money and we can, bring in these kind of platforms as well. I understand there are two different things here. You're looking at a fully mature platform like the MQ-9 vis-a-vis a drone sector, indigenous private sector drone economy that's just taking off now. How can both of these be harnessed together? How can you leverage our, imports to set up a drone ecosystem within the country?
See, the investment or why we are buying MQ-9 is for an operational requirement today.
Right.
Your investment through this Meher Baba competition or through DRDO or through private investment is for day after tomorrow.
Right.
Right. Now, there are large gaps between the two. Yes. By the time you think any of these systems, which the lady was also trying to explain to you, mature to the level of becoming something equivalent to a HALE UAV, armed UAV, it's going to take a decade or more.
Right.
Right. Just to put it in perspective, we inducted the Heron HALE UAVs over 2 decades back. And from then, we've been trying to weaponize them.
Yes.
This weaponization was through Israel.
Yeah.
And we've not been able to do it. We've not been able to simply do that. Okay. And then now we are talking of the next generation. MQ-9 is one generation ahead of the Herons.
Yes.
And where we have not been able to weaponize the last generation long-range UAV.
Yes.
How do you think we can, get to the next generation long-range HALE kind of a UAV?
Right.
Is a question mark. Now that brings me to the next issue. These competitions like Meher Baba and all that are all fine. To my mind, these are all very nascent steps, small-scale steps, which will get you nowhere. If you want a meaningful, UAV program, not a drone program,
right?
Armed UAV program, you have to invest into it,
right?
Okay, and you have to invest into it with the services taking the lead.
Yes,
the services have hesitated to take the lead. The DRDO has let us down completely through its Rustum program.
Right.
In fact, through its Rustum program, it has even put brakes on existing programs.
Yes.
It also put brakes, right, into programs 6-7 years back when academic institutions said, we'll come and design and develop drones.
Right.
If we had done 8 years back, given our IITs enough funding and backing, by now we would have had something like, I wouldn't say MQ-9, but something there.
Like an early version MQ-9 perhaps.
Yeah, first version.
A Predator A. Yes.
We wasted 8-9 years.
Yes.
And I'm saying this with a lot of responsibility.
Right.
Because in 2015, when I was the DGRT, the government had put a moratorium on buys from abroad for these kind of aircraft, with the proviso that we will either do indigenous development or go in for private development or whichever, the Atmanirbharta route. After 8 years, if you have to go and buy an American system, no matter how good it is, right, then we have failed. I think the government of India, the DRDO, the services, and the private sector have a lot to answer.
Absolutely. And General Shankar, very important point you made there. I'm going to ask Group Captain Narang this fact, that a very important point. You said that it actually represents a failure, a collective failure of the establishment not to field this a drone with this capability. And we knew this was coming about a decade ago when you began the Rustum program, for instance. And today, Group Captain Narang, correct me if I'm wrong, India is the only major military in the world which does not have an armed UAV drone.
So let me take a different perspective on the same issue. First thing is, what did we gain in Tapas?
Yes.
Tapas had some technologies which were developed. Probably we have a lot of value for our future programs.
Yes.
Whether it is done by public sector or private sector, those technologies are national technologies, if I had to view it like that. So I'll give you an example. There is an indigenous radar has been developed. The data link has been developed by DEAL Dehradun.
Yes.
Retractable landing gear has been developed by CVRD.
Right.
ATOL system, automatic takeoff landing system has been developed. Common GCS has been developed. SatNav has been developed. INS has been developed. Gagan-based landing, which allows you to take off from one base and land at another base without an external pilot, and this has been demonstrated.
Yes.
Similarly, medium range electro-optic. Some batteries are being developed with ISRO.
Yes.
There's an engine development program. Of course, it is not, not yet operational. And there are many other enabling technologies. So those are the gains. But where did we fail?
Yes.
We were not able to get the production. DCPP partnership model has not delivered in this case.
Right.
If HAL was the production partner, it has successfully developed ALH LCA with all the flaws. So it had the production capability. And today, if we are not able to achieve it, I think DCPP model implementation part has not achieved its desired results. The second part is, I find Rustam has too many systems on board.
Right.
There is no optimization. Okay, for this system, we will carry this.
Yes.
So there is an overweight problem which today we are facing. That also means that users' concern or user have not been on board and certain phases of design. They have been doing testing, trials, everything, I agree.
Right.
But the critical aspects of joint development as partnership has not really fructified in the sense. And I call this today's situation as a Marut movement. Why I call Marut movement is Nishant was developed. Then we developed Nishant was developed. Then there were concerns about, vehicle being tracked from satellite, and then they developed a wheeled version, Panchi.
Right.
Thereafter, we developed a Rustam 1. Now, Rustam 1 was developed from a proven airframe, proven engine, which as a manned platform was being used by Dr. Rustam for a decade and a half for testing and trials in National Aerospace Laboratories and IISc. We were not able to convert that into an unmanned system despite having the ATOL capabilities and some other systems. Now you come to Tapas, the weight rationalization. It means once we have not done optimization. Secondly, we have not archived the lessons taken from Nishant, Panchi and Rustam 1.
Yes.
If we have really analyzed it, we wouldn't have done those same mistakes. Technical analysis of these closed programs and the ongoing Rustam program has not been done. We have been doing financial and limited technical. When I say technical analysis, we need an independent technical analysis because there are a lot of strengths within these programs. As a nation, we cannot let those sub-technologies, subsystems go waste. So
absolutely. Group Captain Narang, we have run out of time, but thank you very much for your comments on this, on the need for combat drones for the Indian Armed Forces. We need, as General Shankar was saying, we need the MQ-9s to meet an operational requirement, but we also need to develop our own drones so that we don't face another Marut moment, Marut being the fighter jet program that the Indian Air Force abandoned in the 1970s. But thank you for watching.
News 9 Plus. Download now.